What is up, guys? Hazy Games back at you with another review video. Tonight, wherever you're at in the world, we're going to be talking about Heavy Rain. Now, this game was suggested to me by one of my subscribers once they viewed my Detroit Become Human review. And Detroit Become Human was a great game, a great narrative-driven game, great gameplay, and just overall a great game, if you like this style of game. So Heavy Rain is much of the same. And what I mean by that is it's a narrative-driven, story-based, character-driven game where you play different characters and you play different storylines, and they all kind of come together at the end. So it's not your standard or typical game play that you're used to. In Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, your actions, the way you respond to things, and the decisions you make affect the world, affect the story, affect the characters, affect the way that the game's going to end. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. There's no, like, oh shit, I screwed up, now I gotta go back to the checkpoint and try it this way. Nope. Too bad you didn't succeed. Try it on your next playthrough. But without further ado, we're just gonna get right into the review. Graphics, I mean, graphics are dated. This game came out earlier than Detroit Become Human. So, I don't know, when was this game released? Let's go to the store page real quick. So,
Peggy 18.
So 2020. So 5 years ago. So, I mean, the graphics aren't terrible. They're not the best. They do look really good at times, and then other times they looked kind of I don't know, a little like washed out, I guess. So I give graphics 7 out of 10. Character models looked really good. Environments looked pretty good. Definitely not as good as Detroit Become Human, but it is, you know, like I said, an older game. The graphics, 7 out of 10. Sound and music, I actually give a 9 out of 10. I thought they did a very good job with the sound of the music, and kind of what I mean about that is it wasn't overly like good like Final Fantasy music. What I mean by it being good is it really fits the scenarios that your characters were in the story. Depending on what your character was doing. Like if you were trying to run from, you know, a threat, the music really like enforced that or reinforced that and really made you feel like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here. Like the music's like really going. And that's what I mean by the music and sound was really good. It just really put the pressure, the music even put pressure on you, as well as what was going on in the game. So it's kind of cool. Sounds are good. The voice acting was very well done. Didn't have any issues with any of the characters' voice acting. Some of the, excuse me, maybe not so important characters, the supporting cast, the voice acting was okay. But man, most of the voice acting was top notch. A tier, S tier voice acting. Really good, very well done. Sound, music, 9 out of 10. Characters and story, I also give a very high score. I give a 10 out of 10. I thought the story was great. The story was amazing. I loved all the twists and turns. I had no idea who the killer was until the very end, and that's the way that you want it to be, at least in my mind, when you're telling a story. And the twist, man, at the end, it was really good. It had my jaw hitting the floor a little bit, and yeah, that's about all I'm gonna stay there. I don't want to touch too much on the story because I don't want to spoil anything if you do end up going and playing this game. Characters were excellent. Backstories on characters were excellent, and I loved how some of the missions actually went back in time and kind of gave you more backstory on certain characters. I thought that was very well done and very needed and very important in the game, and to portray the story the way they wanted to in the game. Man, characters and story, 10 out of 10. I don't give 10 out of 10 scores very often. If you've been watching me for a while, you know this. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to touch on regarding character and stories. So like I said, in this game, what happens in the game matters. There's no like going back and trying to replay. So with that said, you know, if you want to at all times try to keep your character out of harm's way and alive so you can see your character develop in the story and in the game. And that's kind of all I'm going to say there. Just look after your characters when you're playing. Gameplay. Gameplay was good. I'm glad it wasn't any longer than like 9 hours. I had 9 hours of gameplay. You probably could have had some more gameplay in there. Maybe like 12 hours or so. But gameplay was good. Like I said, it's a narrative game, so there are some points and times where there is some action, and then other times it's kind of melancholy, a little more boring, I guess you could say, in doing mundane tasks, but it does help build those characters and build those backstories of those characters. So it is pivotal to still have those levels and moments in the game to where it's kind of, you feel like you're doing chores in a game. So with that said, like the gameplay, I could probably play maybe like 1-2 hours, maybe 3, and then I'd switch games or like go to bed. It reminded me, same thing with Detroit Become Human. Both games reminded me of like TV series that you would watch. So you'd like, you know, play an hour or watch an episode for an hour and then go do something else or go to bed or read a book or whatever, right? And that's kind of how I treated both of these games. And it helps not get burnt out in the mundane tasks that some of the levels have you do. Gameplay, the movement, man, was a little janky. I played on controller and keyboard, and mouse and key, and both inputs were kind of janky with the movement at times. Controller, as far as walking around and moving your characters, was definitely better. But when it came to the action sequences, I felt like the mouse and keyboard was better. That's really the only gripe I have about the gameplay, but it's very frustrating when you're trying to get your character to a certain area in the level and you can't because the movement is just so like bizarre at points, and the camera angles sometimes are even bizarre at some instances. So that's why I give gameplay 8 out of 10. Bugs and cons, like I said, the only con I had was like the movement felt a little janky. Some button combos seemed a little weird on controller, at least. The keyboard, I didn't really feel like there's too many instances where the combinations of keys were like bizarre. That's really the only downside I have about this game. I didn't take a whole lot of gameplay footage, but here's just a quick example of a little bit of gameplay. So we'll just kind of go here. I don't want to show a whole lot of gameplay just because this is a game where you want to experience and see things for the first time with your playthrough, if that makes sense. So we'll watch a little bit of gameplay here, and I'll still talk about the game. Well, this gives you a little bit of sense of what I mean by like, it's a narrative interactive game. Like, you control the character, you move your hands, you walk, you know, pick up items, drop items. Everything is a button combination to do something. And the first game I played that was like this was Detroit Become Human. And I was really blown away because I hadn't ever played a game that really had this style of gameplay. So I released that review, and one of my subscribers was like, hey, you gotta check out Heavy Rain if you like Detroit Become Human. And honestly, when I first looked at Heavy Rain, I was like, I don't know if this is really gonna be my style, you know? But it was on a sale, I believe, for like $1 or $2. And I picked it up on that sale, and I am so glad I picked it up on that sale and played through this game. Finally, it was sitting in my backlog for a while, as are many other games. But I'm glad I played through this. It was a great experience, had a lot of fun. good story, kept me wanting to play more, to learn more about the story and the characters. Just overall a good time. So we're kind of getting into some of the story here on this video. So I'm going to stop it here in a few seconds because I don't want to give away like too much of the story or too many spoilers. There's already spoilers in what you're watching here. If you've played the game or if you haven't played the game. Or if you've played the game, you know. If you haven't played the game, there is some spoilers in here. But if you played Heavy Rain, let me know what you think down in the comments. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you somewhere in between? Do you not really care for narrative-driven games? Yeah, just let me know. If you played Detroit Human, let me know, because that's kind of like a similar game to this. That's really all I got for you guys. Next video will probably be a giveaway video in, where are you at, August. And then after that, I'm not 100% sure. I got to decide what game I'm going to play next. It's either going to be probably a Final Fantasy, so I might do Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13, to finish that saga, or it's going to be Ghost of Tsushima. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching the video. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Much love, and we will see you on the next one.